Welcome.
I have no idea what's going on, guys. This could be a major fiasco.
To Lighting for Profits, your number one source for all things landscape lighting. Powered by Emery Allen. From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing.
And almost like, okay, is this where I get beat up in front of my friends? Like, what's going to happen?
We discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
That's what I like.
Now, here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All right. Welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in the world, powered by Emery Allen. Man, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you for the next little bit here. We've got an awesome show lined up. My name's Ryan Lee. I'm your host of Lighting for Profits. And we're still America's favorite and sometimes Canada's favorite landscape lighting show. So super excited to be here with you guys. We got an awesome show lined up for you. If you are looking to start or grow your landscape lighting business, you're definitely in the right place. And as I found out when I was at the Huge convention, people are listening to the show that have nothing to do with lighting. They're in the home service industry and they're absolutely loving it. So hopefully if you are here and every time I say the word lighting, you can just insert whatever term it is that you do, whatever service, because a lot of these principles remain the same, whether we're talking sales, pricing, marketing, whatever it is. So thanks for being here. Appreciate your support. We could not be here without you. So our mission here, of course, is to help educate and motivate to help you dominate. So really excited about today's show, guys. I've got the one and only Mr. Keith Kalfas. He is the host. He does a lot of different things, but I had to pick one. I'm like, all right, which one should I say he does? Because he does a ton of different things, you guys. You're absolutely going to love him. He's the host, the creator of the Untrapped podcast. So make sure to go search for that and subscribe to his podcast, the Untrapped podcast. But Keith is, he does a lot. He does a lot for the home service community, the landscaping industry, and he's a business owner. And he's like a man of, he's really good at breaking things down to be really simple, but it's also genius at the same time. So super excited to have him on. We're going to pick his brain in just a few minutes. So make sure you guys stick around. Be part of the conversation. If you're here, don't be afraid to say hi in the comments, say what's up. And also, we're continuing the trend, guys, by popular demand. Everyone loves gift card giveaway. So we're going to continue to do gift card giveaway also in this episode. So that's your chance to win free money. This is your chance to get paid to listen. Yes, I'm that shallow. I'm that low. I'm going to bribe you to stay. Okay. So we're going to ask a question. We like to make it fun. So we're going to ask a question. Whoever the first person to answer correctly will get free money powered by me. I'm just going to give you money. If you are the winner, then you'll send me your address, your name, and we'll make sure to send you out a $50 gift card. So stick around for that. And as you guys know, this show is powered by Emery Allen, which I'm super grateful for their support. And hopefully you're grateful for their support too, because they help us put this show on every single week. And some people ask, like, well, what's the deal with Emery Allen? Well, what sets Emery Allen apart? Bulbs aside, they believe customer satisfaction should be top priority always. Okay, Emery Allen goes out of their way to ensure customer satisfaction and that the lighting professionals have access to the best light sources built with the highest quality components, suited specifically for the landscape lighting industry, guys. And at the end of the day, it's what's on the inside that counts. So make sure you take advantage of Emery Allen's world-class customer service. Also, get 10% off your first order for new clients. Here's the trick. Don't go to their website. Everybody else in the world is like, go to our website, go to our website. In this case, do not go to their website, because you're actually going to get way better pricing if you just email Tom G at emeryallen.com. That's Tom Garber's email. He's the owner. So you get to talk with him. He'll get your account set up, get your discounted contractor pricing set up. Tom G at emeryallen.com. So guys, again, we're just a couple minutes away from welcoming Keith on. Before I have him on, and again, Keith Kalfas, you guys are going to absolutely love what he does, because he's got his own academy. So he teaches people how to grow their, start and scale their businesses. And what's cool about the stuff that he does is it's like in real time too. Like he'll be out doing like on a job and show you like how to bid it or how to manage the project or whatever. It's like, it's in real time. So make sure you guys look him up on YouTube and all the different places where you can find him. And his podcast is, what did I say it was called? The Untrapped podcast. So go get that. But before we have him on, I want to share this experience with you real quick. I don't remember when, it was just a few weeks ago, I guess, but I watched this documentary and it was about, man, I don't even remember what it's called. I think I might know what it's called, but I don't want to ruin the story yet. This guy named Nirmal Persia. He goes by Nims. And in 2019, he's a Nepali guy. He's from Nepal. And he set out to break some records. And not just a couple, but he broke a ton. So he set out to climb and summit the 14 peaks that are over 8,000 meters tall. 8,000 meters, guys, they're all over like 26,000 feet. So these are massive. It's just like Everest 14 times, right? And so, obviously to do 14 peaks over 8,000 meters, I think only a couple people have ever done that in their entire lifetime. And so it's an amazing feat in and of itself. But what he wanted to do was prove everybody wrong. And he wanted to do it in only 7 months. So can you imagine trying to summit these 14 peaks that are over 8,000 meters, over 26,000 feet in 7 months, right? And everyone told him it was impossible. So between, the weather patterns and politics, he's in multiple countries having to do this and dealing with their laws and stuff like that, sicknesses, injuries, all this stuff. It's like, it's not possible. And that's what they told him. And so he called it Project Impossible. Project Impossible. So I think that's what it might be called, the documentary. It's on Netflix or Amazon or whatever. Just Google it. But this was an awesome show. And here's the thing. So, obviously they made a show about it. So did he conquer the 14 peaks in 7 months? Did it take him 8 months? Did it take him 8 years? Did he die? Like, who knows, right? You'll find out when you watch. But I'm going to tell you right now. So spoiler alert. He started off so crazy. He was the first ever to summit Mount Everest. And I wrote these other ones down. They're right by Everest. Mount Everest, Lhotse, and Makalu. He did these 3 peaks within 48 hours, guys. 48 hours. Most people, it takes like a couple weeks just to do one, And so before this, he had done all 3 of those before, and he held the record. The record before was 5 days. So now he's like, well, I'll just do it in 2 days. I'll do it in 48 hours. So pretty awesome, right? And so they're documenting this whole journey. He's even like going up and down these mountains, and he's saving, like, there's other climbers there, and like he's saving lives too. Like there's people that are trapped on the mountain. They're like, oh, let's get him out of here. And they're getting choppers called and everything else. It's kind of crazy. And actually one guy did not survive, which was really super sad, but they at least did everything they could to help him out. And so here's the real spoiler alert. So if you don't want to know what happened, just stop listening to the show right now forever. Just kidding. Don't do that. Spoiler alert. He wanted to do it in 7 months. He failed. He did it in 6 months and 6 days. 6 months and 6 days. Could you imagine doing 14 peaks, 8,000 meters? Awesome, right? And so I want to ask you guys, what is holding you back? When are you going to start your Project Impossible? What things have people told you was impossible? Starting your business? Oh yeah, my cousin does that. He says it's really hard and it's impossible. Have you looked at seen how much competition's in the market? I mean, yeah, there's I wouldn't do it. I mean, how many haters are there out there? Right? Every time at least I feel like when I go to try to do something else, the people that don't have that courage, they want to pull you down because it's much easier for them to just hold you back than it is for them to keep progressing in their life, right? And so I want you to put on paper, like, what is your Project Impossible? This was a guy that was a no-name guy. He was not one of the most, he didn't have a name. He was just from Nepal. Like, he was a Sherpa, whatever, but no one knew his name. And he wanted to show what's possible. And so I want to ask you guys, are you living up to your full potential? Do you even know what your full potential is? Right. And so today it's time to start living the rest of your life. Hey, you can do hard things. And sometimes you're not even doing hard things. You're not doing the even close to scaling one peak that's 8,000 meters, right? This guy did 14. So I want you to set a goal so big that when you say it out loud, it's going to be embarrassing, right? So it could be, I want to get 100,000 this year. It could be 1 million. It could be 5 million, 10 million, whatever it is. Like, and give yourself some runway. Like, okay, in 5 years, I want to have $1 million company. I want to have a $10 million company. I want to have a $50 million company. I don't really care what it is, but it should be embarrassing. It should be embarrassing. And you guys know what I'm talking about, because sometimes we're like afraid to share that stuff, right? So this guy did it. He called his shot, 14 peaks, 8,000 meters in 7 months. And that's impossible, right? So selling $5 million of landscape lighting in 1 year, in 12 months, that's impossible, right? You don't know anyone that's done it. What's your impossible goal? Put it down, make it happen, right? That's what I want to challenge you guys with today. And you are really the only person holding yourself back. If someone has told you it's not possible, or you can't do that, not in this market, you can't charge those prices. Okay, these are things we hear and see all the time in the Facebook groups and everything else. You can't sell that big of a job here. Maybe in Florida, maybe in Texas, maybe in California, but not here. You can't hire that many people. You don't know what it's like in my market. Okay, that's just noise. That's just noise. So turn off that noise and do the impossible. I'm giving you permission, okay? I'm giving you permission today to be the best version of yourself. I'm giving you permission to take control of your life. Stop surviving and start thriving. Keep moving forward, guys. That's my message for you today. Keep moving forward. So go watch that documentary too. But in the meantime, don't watch it yet, because right now we are about to welcome our guests, and right now it's about to get real. So, guys, let me know if you're ready. Let me know if you're ready for Keith. If you're here live, and we're gonna get this guy on. I'm super excited. So let's get the music pumping and get ready to welcome Mr. Keith. Should we do it? Where'd he go? All right, welcome to the show, Mr. Keith Kalfas. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, bro? Happy to be on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the first live podcast you've done where I'm like just self-produced?
No.
Okay. All right.
This is good, man.
All right, man. Well, I gave you the fair warning. Anything you say can and will be used against you. So let's jump into this, man.
Nice. Can you hear me clear?
Oh yeah. You look great. You sound great. In fact, I'm really envious of your lighting. I'm like, wait, I'm a lighting guy and Keith has way better lighting than me. Like, what's going on? It looks good.
Just watch some YouTube videos on lighting.
Right. Awesome. It looks good. Well, speaking of YouTube videos, I mean, you're out there doing the same thing. So just like you fast tracked your way to be a lighting expert for your podcast background, people can fast track their way to being successful business. How did you get your start, man? Like, how did you get your first business going, and why?
Yeah, good question. Thanks. Man, my first business was actually starting my own little lawn care business when I was like, I think I was like 14 with a friend of mine, knocking on doors around the neighborhood. Then it didn't work out. I ended up cutting all the lawns by myself, and I ended up getting a job. I had 2 jobs at 14, and then tried the lawn care business again with another friend. And we got in several fights and arguments at the age of 15, 16.
So you learned about partnerships early on.
Oh God. And then I got a bunch of different landscape jobs during the day, and I was working at restaurants at night, things like that. And I always told myself if I didn't become a rock star, I would end up starting a landscape business. And after working at a bunch of different landscape companies and being a foreman and things like that, and learning tons of different skills, being exposed to big company cultures and values and systems and things like that, I had an excuse in my head, which was very real to me, that it takes, $30,000 to start your own business. So it just seemed impossible to me. And then when my back was against the wall in about 2010, I had, met my wife and we got a place together. And then I got sued for a car accident. I was broke and I rear-ended somebody, and I got a car insurance company sued me for almost 20 grand. It took my driver's license away, and I was scared, man. So I begged them to set up a payment plan and just to keep a restricted driver's license. And I started doing landscaping side jobs, sold my music and my studio equipment, my prized possession. I didn't care, man. I had a total breakdown, and all I knew was I was dangling on the edge of a thread, and if it was meant to be, it was up to me. And so it was time to grow up real quick. And at the ripe age of 27, a very late bloomer, I went nuts, 100 hours a week nonstop. As long as I got this truck. Well, I started out of the back of my wife's car, and we were fighting constantly because she couldn't go anywhere because I was getting off work, literally doing it out of the back of her wife's car and leaving like Lowe's bags on customers' curbs for landscaping, shrub trimming job, things like this. You
Is that
dumped
what
out.
was first was like still a little bit of lawn care, trimming shrubs, or was it like new installs? What was it like at first?
Bro, I mean, I literally started with a shovel, like a $60 or $80 pair of Black & Decker electric shrub trimmers and an extension cord from Home Depot. And I rented a wheelbarrow, a rake, a tarp, and a broom from my buddy for $15. And then I borrowed my stepfather's truck and did my first shrub trimming and mulch job. It's a really humble awakening when you work for multi-million-dollar companies and you're driving around in F450 trucks and pulling 24-foot box trailers with $100,000 in equipment, and you're the boss of all these. Like, it's a fucking. Oh, sorry, I cussed. Is that okay? It's okay.
Everyone gets one, yeah.
All right, it's an illusion. Because then when you wake up and you're totally out there on your own and you can't pinch together 2 pennies to get a truck that's not covered in rust, you realize how quickly you've been living in an illusion. So I got this truck called the Blue Goose. I called it was a 1991 Dodge Dakota, 300,000 miles, rust all over it. And I was my hands on that wheel every day as the sun was going down. And as long as I was behind the wheel of that truck, I would be okay. And my wife would say things like, "What are you doing? It's Sunday night. Why aren't you home? It's 10:30 p.m. Are you cheating on me? Yo, what's going on?" And I was a psychopath. I was like, "Do you understand that if this truck breaks down and we don't have enough money to fix it or buy a new one, we're screwed. We lose everything. I lose my driver's license." I was talking like that. And it's like, how many people end up in dire straits, just end up all in to do something about it? And 100 hours a week for 3 years straight. And then I got down to 90 hours a week, then 80 hours a week that had multiple nervous breakdowns where I wake up in panic attacks and sweating but still go to work anyways. Sick, throwing up, doesn't matter. Actually, it was too busy to get sick, man. Underquoting jobs left and right, working for free, listening to hundreds of audiobooks and devouring as much information I could about success. I stopped listening to music altogether because it didn't make me money.
Yeah.
And
so like when you were doing that, so 100 hours and then wow, you shaved off 10 hours, and then 20 hours. Now you're only working 80 hours a week.
Yeah, I think right now in my landscape business, about 45 hours a week, in this business, and my media business is another 20 hours. I'm probably at 65, 70 hours, which feels like part-time to me. Like for me to even, and it was like
were you doing it for money? Like, were you like, oh, I'm trying to make more money, or that was just trying to get by at that point?
Oh, bro, just trying to get by. I had no idea what I was doing with the charge. I didn't know my worth. I was letting customers walk all over me. I mean, to literally, I remember one week I worked 90 hours and had an eviction notice on my door in an apartment that the rent was only $595 a month. Seems impossible. You can go make $500 by noon. It's like, that's how low and negative brainwashing that I was brainwashed. And I grew up dirt poor around very poor people who knew nothing about entrepreneurship. So it's like the level of frustrations that you go through when you're in that isolated place. And then you run into people that are doing astronomically better than you, and you don't understand how, and they don't have time to share it with you. I mean, today with YouTube and on the internet, if you just get the heck off of TikTok and all this crap and just dial in to specifically, I'm not talking about meditating so you can become a millionaire and all the law of abundance attraction. I went down that road too. Some of it's pretty good, but like when you just dial in specifically to the problems you're having right now, the challenges you're having in your business, and you learn just the basic things and get some minimum viable systems going, and you can build a 6-figure business, hire some employees, and then get all your debt paid off, get your credit together, finally buy a house and your dream truck and have food in the fridge and be able to go on vacations. It's like, there's so much opportunity. It's out here. It's insane. But I think the hardest part is the mindset of flipping your whole mindset upside down from a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. If you go out all day doing quotes and estimates and you're learning how to market your business, and then you know, 3 or 4 customers in a row are penny pinching tire kickers that are trying to just like to not take that personally and just keep going. And then boom, you hit that, you know, $10,000 or $20,000 client, and
Love
you
that.
you just keep looking up. You have a positive expectancy where you're there. I read this quote once. I saw it on like Instagram or something. It was amazing. Once you get sick of your own bullshit, your own excuses, that's when you start to make real progress with that negative self-talk. If you even say something like, "Oh, I'm not smart," or I was diagnosed with ADD and that's why," like, just go pick up something and hit yourself in the head with it, because the chances, what it does, this, all the negativity in the world, and even people that learning how to manage and deal with all of your personal relationships and your employees and all their issues and your family members and all that. Everybody in our listening probably has an alcoholic in their family, somebody who's hooked on drugs, or just got out of rehab, or died from a drug overdose, or an abusive spouse. Crazy stuff that we all have to deal with. And I'm learning that emotional maturity, leadership, and being a very like responsible and control of your own emotions and your own energy, and being able to deal with and manage all that in a realistic, practical, pragmatic way. I'm not preaching anybody. I'm just talking from my heart right now, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It's like this growth and maturity process. I'm kind of upset. I'm a little angry because it's taken me till 39 to really, really start waking up, because it takes, you know, it could take a decade of doing self inner work and working on your interior space of reorganizing your psychology and your mindset, your heart set and your soul set, and to get your personal life in order, and just managing and dealing with your own day-to-day stuff before you can actually go out and start hiring employees, getting married, having children, and then being a leader in your community. You got to learn how to lead yourself. Because if you're the type of person, every time something gets hard and you stick your head in the sand, or you call in sick, or you like, life is really, really hard. And I don't think I'm the strongest person in the world, and I've had to develop this tenacity to become a strong human being, because I learned that every time. I used to be this guy who called my friends up and I would basically whine, bitch, and complain. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's like number one, or one of the top rules, are stop whining and complaining, and you know, for lack of a better word, because I was constantly seeking the answers to why am I going through these problems? Why am I underquoting these jobs? How come I'm not making any money? How come I can't afford to have a house yet? How come, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, it seemed impossible to me of how other people were succeeding. And yet I was trying so hard and I felt so stupid. Like, am I dyslexic? Is it my ADD? What is it? Like, and you can get depressed when you try really hard for a long time. And now that I feel like I've crossed a lot of those chasms without losing my life or ending up, and I'm still here. It's like I feel like I've crossed a lot of those very, very hard barriers that I initially set out and were impossible to me. And now my heart is in this place where I'm making these YouTube videos, and I don't even care about myself. I just want to help as many of these guys as possible. I was at the huge convention, and I won't say any names, literally just last weekend. I got the opportunity to speak there, and I was very grateful for that. When I'm done speaking, some of the people that watch my videos will, want to meet me and talk to me and take pictures with me and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, I watch your videos. You were the guy who helped me get started, bro. I remember I was living in my car and all these amazing stories. I'm like, dude, it's not me, bro. It's you. But like, I just made the videos, and like, guys will tell me they'll have their wives next to them, and I always show total respect to their wives, and shake their hands with it. Very nice to meet you. I just want to be super respectful to people and inclusive. But guys will whisper in my ear all the time that they were hooked on drugs, they were drug addicts, and that they found my videos. I'm not saying I'm responsible, but were part of the reason why, that they were able to, something like I said in one video just clicked. Yep. And they broke down crying and were able to overcome that thing, get their life. Like, and I'm thinking like, man, after I'm dead and gone, what type of videos am I creating? What type of things how am I treating people? What's going to happen? And this whole bull crap about, oh, you got to leave a legacy, man. Like, who cares about your legacy, man? Like, I'm serious. Like, I used to care about, materialistic things would make me feel worthy, or I would, I could finally be
In a way, you are leaving a legacy. Like, I know you're not doing it for
Mm.
the legacy, but how cool was it that someone came up to you and said, "Man, you changed my life. I used to be this and this and this. I watched that one video and then you made me feel like I was somebody." I think that's what people are talking about when they're talking about legacy. Like, that's way more fulfilling to you, I would imagine, than selling a landscape job, you know?
Totally. I
That's a
had
lot.
this epiphany a long time ago. It's like, I love landscaping. I literally just I had a guy call in sick halfway through. We're starting a $10,000 landscape job tomorrow, and we were supposed to be there today. And a guy called in sick halfway. I can't talk anything personal, but I was like, oh, I can't jump into the fire. I can't go save it. I have to let it sit there and burn because I got other shit to do. And I was like, I talked to my wife about it because she helps with the uh, scheduling and phone calls and things like that. And she's like, just go to the job site, just go there. And I went in, I grabbed the tools and I ran to the job site, and my other guy was working. He was the only guy left there. And in literally 2 hours, I worked like a madman and finished up this whole job, all the finishing touches, got it done, texted the client. Now we can start this next job tomorrow, because like an entrepreneur understands that the domino effect of what's happening in the microcosm affects the macro. Like you know where you got to be 24 days from now. You might know where you got to be 62 days from now. And if this thing doesn't get done right now in this hour, it's going to cause a domino effect 2 months from now. Like this is a constant the urgency and the pressure is so high and so hard to perform and get as much done and to be as accomplished as possible, revolving around your life's highest calling, mission, and mandates. Who do you want to be? Not just like, let's get money, dog. Like that was cool. Like, like 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Well, but maybe starting out when you had to pay, buy fuel for your truck or whatever, just to
absolutely
get the next job. But then it becomes beyond that. Let me ask you something real quick, because you said a lot of stuff just now. Like we got to unpack a lot of it. When you were in that phase and you were like, oh my gosh, 100 hours, yada, 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 I didn't know it was going to be like this, whatever. Was there any, like, what was it that triggered it for you to start going, okay, I got to do something different. Like, I can't sustain this. I've got to hire people. I've got to raise my price. All the things that you preach today. Like when did that switch get flipped for you?
I was aware of it the entire time.
You were?
That's funny, is you can be aware of something of a higher level and that you need to learn more, but still you have all the mistakes and failures in front of you that you haven't earned your stars and stripes or taken your battle wounds. Like,
what motivated you to make the change then? To be like, okay, I'm going to do, like you said, I think a lot of people are aware. A lot of people are in that phase right now, and that's who we're both trying to help. It's like, we're just like, come on, just listen to me. Like, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. It's not that hard. We're just trying to get you to do like you said, like, what's your biggest obstacle? What's your biggest problem? Let's solve it right now. But when was that for you? Like, how did you go from complete broke, this and that and the other, to the start of the Keith Kalfas Academy? You know what I mean?
Absolute and utter terrifying fear. I mean, I've lived my life out of, if you go to Maslow's like hierarchy of needs, just live a life of 24/7 anxiety and fear, like frantic pacing around, running around like I need a fix of a drug or something. And it's just terror. Just afraid of going down the hole and never being able to climb back up. So there was no, I mean, I think everybody wants to be a millionaire and have a house off the water and a lake house and beautiful things and have residual income and multiple streams of passive flowing investment vehicles and all these things. Like, but in the moment, it was just total fear and wanting to get out of pain. Like, people do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. Okay. All I knew was that I had this woman that I loved. I put a ring on her finger, and I promised before God that, and both of our families, that I just wasn't going to let her down. And I knew what it felt like to be at rock bottom and have to ask for handouts. And I grew up on welfare and things like that. And the thought of making somebody else's life a living hell. I've driven around on a bicycle 10 miles to work and back with no driver's license and had to ask people for rides. I know what that feels like, to be the burden, and I can't be a burden to anybody, and I'll fight until my death to not be that. And then once you finally one day you get 100% out of debt and there's no party, nobody even cares, nobody even notice. One day you finally get your 10, 20, 40, 50, 60 grand, 100 grand in the bank, whatever that means to you. And you've got all your needs established and you could not work for a year or something like, and you realize nobody cared the entire time. Like I remember I've been making, 87,000 total revenue in the year in my little tiny landscaping business, running around terrified thinking the IRS is going to audit me and constantly reading books on the IRS and the tax codes and all this stuff and like calling my friends who had businesses. And I had to and I was paying my taxes the entire time. I just couldn't believe that the taxes are so easy to pay and they're so cheap compared to what people had terrified me into believing. I mean, I probably overpay on taxes. Like I'm mailing out my Q3s like literally Saturday ahead of time. And it's like there's a saying, it's never as hard as or as bad as you think it's going to be, and it's never as good as you thought it was going to be. It's like I think of like, imagine there's a guy with a stick in a river and there's crocodiles like in the Looney Tunes, and he's hitting the crocodiles with the stick and they keep popping up. And then he gets to the point where now he's in an army tank and he's got like, all our heavy artillery and it's totally unnecessary. And he's like,
Yeah.
like crazy.
So what advice do you give to people in that situation? You've done it. You're still working on it, it sounds like, but
obsessively. I'm listening to Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game right now in between this podcast, and I'm back at it for the second time. And I'm going through all the books on financial literacy, an absolute obsession with like, what if somebody in your family, this is deep, gets an unexpected traumatic car accident, ends up in a wheelchair, and now you have to support yourself for that person. If you can't run your business because it requires manual labor and now you're in a freaking wheelchair, what are you going to do? What if somebody you or in your family gets a horrible diagnosis of like cancer or something, and now it's cost everything? You're completely financially wiped out. What if there's all these constant what ifs is my obsession, dude. I'm buying like stocks, bonds, ETFs, gold, silver, I'm working constantly saving and acquiring and trying to prepare as much as possible. I want to get a property up north. I'm not trying to be like a crazy ass prepper or anything, but like
that sounds like it. No, it's good though. I mean, so you're saying you said it was fear or pain. Pain is what motivates you. And so
I just come out and say it. I'm terrified that like I've talked to other Christians about this and they're like, listen, Jesus doesn't have lightning bolts and he's not going to shoot them out of his eyes. And like, I've been praying more than I've ever prayed. Like when I'm in the shower, I drive down, I put my face on the tile. I'm praying, Lord Jesus, Father in heaven, please, I want to be more like you, be the head of my household, be the head of my life, the head of my business, the head of my marriage, the head of everything. Anything that's not like you, just take it out of me. I repent for all my sins. I don't even know how many sins that I've even committed. Did I commit a sin? If I did, take it out of me, make more like you. I just want to be like when I read about Jesus and this guy that people are like, oh, you like Jesus, you're a weirdo, unsubscribe. Weirdo is like, I like I throw my heart over the bar. I can't even believe I'm talking like this lately, but I'm obsessed with the fact that like my friend Joshua Latimer said, he goes, it's a privilege to it's a privilege to even be able to participate in what God is going to do anyway. If you really break that down, because if you don't do that or find out what's God's will for your life and you don't do that, like, I'm sorry, half your audience just left right now and they're like, boo.
Listen, if they're still here, they've put up with me for long enough. So trust me, you're good. There's not much you can say to offend people at this point.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, no, you're good. I love it. Dude, it's called Lighting for Profits. Half the time we don't talk about lighting. Half the time we're not talking about profits. We're talking about self-worth. We're talking about being a better person, being a better leader, letting God into your life, being a better person, all this stuff. So it's awesome, man. Don't apologize for being you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it, man. So this is awesome. This is fun. This is a hard interview, Keith. this is really challenging for me. I want to do this. Can we take a small break? Because I do this thing where I give away money to people that are here. Just, If they're live and they want it when they want free money, I just give it to them. And I can't tell if it's a bribe or a reward, but either way, we're gonna do that. So are you okay if I do that real quick?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go, guys. Gift card giveaway. All right, it's everyone's favorite time of the show. It's gift card giveaway time, and we're going to give away $50 to the first person to answer this question correctly. So, you guys ready? This one's going to get a little bit technical. You might have to do some. Well, you are going to have to do some math, and you can use a calculator. You can use Google. I don't really care. It's just the first person to answer this question correctly. I am going to send you $50. A $50 gift card is going to come to you in the mail. If you are the winner, then we'll get your information and stuff like that and send it out to you. So here we go. Here is the question. And by the way, a lot of these questions, if you guys get CLVLT certified, which is certified low voltage lighting technician, you're going to have to answer some of these questions to get certified. So one question is, here to go. What will the total voltage drop be if you put 12 7-watt lights on a 100-foot run using 12-2 wire? What will the total voltage drop be if you put 12 7-watt lights on a 100-foot run using 12-2 wire? So a lot of numbers in there. And I'll give you guys a hint. You have to use the voltage drop formula, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But basically, 12 7-watt lights, and a watts is defined as VA, voltage amps. And so 7 watts, 12 lights, 100-foot run, 12 gauge wire. So Keith, don't worry. You can't even answer anyway. You're disqualified. So don't even try to answer this one unless you want to just throw out a number real quick. No. Okay. So guys, let me know in the comments. The first person to answer this correctly will win. So use the voltage drop formula. Get me the answer. The winner will get $50. And with that, that is the end of gift card giveaway. So we're going to continue our interview right now with Keith, but keep giving me your answers in the comments. And again, the first person to answer it correctly, we're going to hook you up with $50 just for being part of the show and participating. So thanks you guys for your support. All right. So Keith, have you ever done any lighting in your landscaping ventures or anything like that?
No, we've removed all of the lighting to do a whole landscape. We removed plenty of lighting on plenty of jobs and put it all back, but I've never installed it. I've destroyed lighting and had to repair it before.
Right. It's like, oh, I didn't know there was a fixture there. Oops.
Or wires underground or something.
Yeah, I know you're either working on or you have done this. You're trying to kind of streamline your operations, right? Try to just focus on fewer things to avoid some of the chaos.
Yeah, it's a tough season because, in the beginning, I was Mr. Do-It-All. I was at the point where I'll paint your shed, I'll cut your grass, I'll do anything, I'll do your windows, I'll do your power washing. And by the time I started hiring employees, they were so confused. And then within the third year, I had all of this broken stuff all over the place, like threw away an entire storage unit just into a dumpster of all these different services that I was trying to make money. And I didn't understand why it was chaos. So then I got into tree service, which requires extremely expensive work comp, and it was me in the trees. Like I've learned how to climb up and dismantle and take down. I could take down a 50-foot tree. But I don't put any of that stuff on YouTube. It's like too freaking dangerous. I can't send employees to do that. It requires $50,000 in extra equipment to be able to process that stuff. It's just any of my friends I had that have successful arborist, tree businesses.
Yeah.
They're so highly involved in that business that I was like, can't do it. So it's been this year I've taken a huge hit because I'm narrowing down the services, niching down specifically on doing cookie cutter services that I can send employees to do that has a lower chance of error or risk or injury or failure. And
what are you going to be focusing on?
Garden bed maintenance, which is trimming. We specialize in trimming ornamental trees and huge shrubs. I got this big orchard ladder, and we're very good at trimming like big privacy wall shrubs. And we do pull all the weeds, trim all the shrubs, lay down mulch, decorative stone, garden bed edging, repairing edging, all the stuff that the lawn care guys are too busy to do. Like we do that. So we have like a whole property maintenance package. It's like $2,500. We come and trim all the ornamental trees and shrubs up to 22 feet high from the ground. We can do it with like ladders. I don't have any boom lifts or any crazy stuff like that.
Yep.
And basically my guys can do all that stuff without me. They're super articulate and meticulous. They know how to do it all. Like they can't work at the speed and accuracy that I can. Like I can just get in and bang out a job, but like, cause I'm a monster, man. Like cause I'm the owner, like, you know how it goes. Like you understand.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because that's like so hard. I remember the first time well, you know what wasn't hard for me was I started the business and I was in Texas and it was super humid and we're installing lights. I'm like, dude, I do not want to be an installer the rest of my life. So that was an easy thing for me to get a technician, but it was hard to get someone in the office and like, I love sales. And it's like, no one can outsell me. I'm the guy that, and people said, oh, we love you. And we chose you because you're the owner and everything else. So I thought that meant I could never replace myself. But let's talk about that. How that's been for you. How hard is that to let go and know that, like, man, if I was there, I'd be doing it different and I'd be doing it twice as fast. And like, I'm a monster and all this. Like, how hard is that? And what things have you done to be like, okay, I'm going to go do something else, so I'm not here? Like, how do you do that?
Well, as far as the quality of the work, I'm super happy with what my guys do. And they know how obsessive compulsive I am. So they do it right the first time because they know that I'll send them back to do it. And I don't miss a thing. I'll walk through a property and I'll find a little tiny thing that I know that they saw. And if they thought that I wouldn't see that, they don't even think that, because they know I'll see it and they know to just do it, because I just think you should be this way because you care so much about your clients and what your clients think, and you want 5-star reviews and you want them to refer you. It's like, I literally showed up to a job today because, like I said, a guy had to go home for some reason. And I had to jump in there for a couple hours and get that thing finished up. And on the patio, part of the job description was to pull all the little tiny weeds growing out of the cracks of like the patio. And underneath the bay window, knee height, you couldn't see unless you kind of like tilt your head. In the corner of the crack by the house, there was a little tiny like weed tree sucker thing. That was the only thing left growing. And I hopped in my truck and I went to leave. I was like, oh, my guys they missed that one thing. And I know they saw it and I know they justified it. And I'm like, should I send them a picture of it and send them back tomorrow morning to do it? Because we're starting this job tomorrow. That's like 10K. I was like, dude, I can't be that anal. It's like, so I grabbed I didn't have any tools on me. Like, I grabbed a pocket knife and I went and I laid down on the patio and I sat there and I cut it for like 3 minutes straight with the sun beating on me. And I got that last thing to the best of my knowledge and ability. Like, because I knew for a fact the customer would see it. And this is a high profile client. And I understand I think I understand. I'm not a know-it-all or anything. Like, how could nobody? She's never gonna listen. We had to let our cleaning lady go. Just we got to find a new one at our personal house.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say it, bro. This lady does a great job cleaning, but she does these little tiny things that drives my wife nuts. Now you could say like, these are first world problems or whatever. Like, the only reason we have a cleaning lady is because I keep getting in arguments with my wife about house chores. Of course, like, I'm waking up, I'm doing the dishes and I'm taking out the trash and I'm scooping the cat litter and I'm doing as much as I possibly can before I get out the door to run a business, blah, 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 nonstop. And my wife's constantly cooking and cleaning and doing laundry. It's just like any household, I hope. But it's like, there comes this argument. It was like, you're not doing enough around the house. When I'm literally sitting around on my phone or on the computer, I'm not playing, I'm literally working. So it's like, I'm like, that's it. I'm hiring a cleaning lady. We need to hire, because when you look at, like, you ever see the scale of 10, 15, 20, $100 an hour work? I value my time at $250 an hour. If any minute that I'm doing $15 an hour work, I'm losing out on $250. So it's like, you have these arguments with other family members. You're crazy. What do you think you are, hiring a cleaning lady? Oh my God, you should do that. And I fought with my wife about this forever. And I was like, no, like, we need someone to cut our grass and do this and do this and do this. And it was like, my wife has been the pinnacle. If I have had any success at all in my life, aside from just being really bullheaded and stubborn workaholic, when it comes to being articulate and meticulous and understanding details, it all comes from my wife. Her level of being able to Oh, dude, it's insane. Our house is clean like a laboratory. You can eat off the floors and countertops, even though we have a bunch of pets. She has very specific, micro specific rules about everything. What type of cleaner goes with this? If you could open up her dresser drawers, everything is folded like military. She's so precisely, meticulously clean, and it's been so hard for me. And it's like
I love that. I want to come over and see it. I want to see like is it like color coordinated and stuff with the
everything. You can come over and do an audit. Come pop up on my house anytime, and come do an audit. And I guarantee you, it'll be this house is really clean.
Yeah, dang it, he was right.
Yeah. So,
but it's not first, like you said, it's kind of like first world problems. It's not really that. Like to your point, like these people are paying you because they value their time at $250 an hour, $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, whatever it is. And so like, but they're paying to get it done right. Like they want that little twig thing, whatever. If you left garbage, like why would you leave? Like, and this happens in lighting. People leave like their wire clippings. You trim the wire, whatever, and clients will go around and pick that shit up, like
pissed off,
you know. And they'll send you a text with like 4 pieces of garbage in their hand, and you're like, guys, this do this, you know.
I've had conversations with my employees before who aren't married and stuff like that, and I'll be like, listen, it doesn't have anything to do with them being married, but it's just what I mean is, I say to they would look at me like they respect me and they get it. They just asked me in the past, like, Keith, aren't you being a little obsessive? Like, I thought we had another job to go to. Like, why are you like? I have this thing called the fingertip pick. At the end of every job, we go around with buckets and we sweep the property. And if I'm there and I'm collecting the check from a client, talking to the client, I want them the whole time. Don't go sit in the truck and wait for me. Just keep going around the property with your fingertips, picking up tiny little specks of mulch in the garden bed, adjusting the rocks, going along the patio so it looks pristine. Like I want when I walk around with a customer and I'm asking for a $12,000 check, I want them to be like, damn, like this is amazing. Like, oh my God, nothing is out of place. I want it to look so clean that it looks like virtual reality or something. Like, wow, I love this. And even if a little bit of wind over the next couple of days messes it up, it's that impression that's so highly important that like that going that extra 10%. I have so much like care and admiration and respect and gratitude for my clients. In my videos, I would crack jokes about clients, and I pick on nitpicky clients and people that are tire kickers, and this stuff drives me crazy because there's something about labor, and I don't know where this brainwashing came from, but it's in a lot of industries that homeowners think because they're paying for someone to install their lights or do landscaping or whatever, like the guy out there dripping in sweat isn't as valuable or something because he's not an engineer or like,
yeah,
I don't know what that thing is, but anybody who thinks that, shame on them, especially the clients for thinking, and you know, the contractors, it's our faults too, because you got guys out cutting people's lawns for $25. You can't even afford taxes or payroll or insurance. Yeah. The whole market is destroyed. And now everybody is so spoiled and they think that all the homeowners that they can get all their stuff done so cheap that when a real professional contractor's got a shit together who delivers on what he says, he can afford to have very good communication and follow-up practices with his clients. They'll be there if something goes wrong to fix it. Like they stand behind all that shit costs money. So you can afford to have infrastructure and even get out of survival mode. So you can afford to ascend to the next level and have the consciousness of a true practitioner who actually takes care of his clients at a high level. That shit costs money. So it's like when the customers act like, oh, that's too much. Like I can't, like the other guy will do it for
the other guy. Yeah.
Okay. So
he doesn't have insurance and can't afford to give you the red carpet, white glove experience. Exactly.
I get pissed off and I was like, you can't tell the customer, okay, we'll see how that works out for you. Yeah. Don't call me when your shit's broken in a month, and don't call me. Like you can't talk to customers like that. And it just surprises me after all these years, no customers ever asked me to see a copy of my insurance documents. They don't, it's like, I just cannot believe most Americans are very, very rogue. I'm not saying they're anti-government. That's the wrong thing. They are rugged individualists. It's what this country was found upon. But it's mind-blowing to me how.
You're right. They don't ask. So what, you know what I started doing was showing them, because I would make them think that, oh wait, I should have asked that question. And then it puts the thought in their mind that, wait a minute, everybody else I talk to probably isn't insured.
because they didn't show me the insurance. Because I was so frustrated too. I'm like, well, no one ever asks like these important questions. So I just started kind of giving them the answer before they asked to create, put that doubt in their mind of like, well, wait a minute, if this guy is doing this, this, and this, and no one else mentioned that, then maybe they're not qualified,
It works with some criteria clients. I tell every single customer and every single quote, we are covered. We have $2 million in insurance. Anything happens, which nothing ever will, but like we're a fully licensed insured company, and that you're in good hands and all these things. I'll send you a copy of my, I attach, we use Jobber, and I attach all that stuff to them so they can read in the email. It's all up to date. It's like they don't even care anyways. They just go with the cheaper guy a lot of the time. This has been the weirdest year ever. I don't know. You wouldn't normally hear me talking like this, and it's probably across industries. I don't know. Last year and the year before, people were just throwing away money. We were booked out for like 3 months, and everybody wanted to get stuff done, and they didn't care what it cost. This year, I've had more penny pinchers than ever before. And it's weird. I don't know why or what's going on. It's starting to change now. It was the first few months of the season. And now I think now I'm starting to get the jobs that I want at a price that I want. But the last 2 months have been strange, man.
Well, it's because the news was telling everyone we're going to go into a recession. And then when everyone's still alive 3 months later, and they're like, wait, we still alive? Okay, cool. We're still rich. So let's still buy stuff. Like people didn't get poor in the last a couple months or even a couple of years. So they really need that mental check, and they get bored of not spending. They literally get bored. They're like, wait a minute, I haven't been spending because the news told me that we're supposed to be in a recession, but let me check my account. Yeah, still rich. Let me call Keith back and give him the green light,
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
I think that's really what's going on. So as long as everyone just stops watching the news, I think we're going to be fine. Well, let me ask you this. I want to ask you something, and you heard some people say, oh, I don't have regrets or whatever. Like, I kind of don't have regrets, but I kind of have a lot. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I learned certain things because of the stuff I went through, all that. I'm grateful for experiences, even the negative ones. But if you could go back in time, if you could go back and give yourself some advice, what would you say to your younger self? Maybe getting started 10 years ago. Or yesterday. Before that guy called in sick.
Oh, yeah, there's only one thing. Don't beat yourself up so much. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're your own worst critic. And there's a difference between being hard on yourself in a constructive way and then just negative self-talk and beating yourself up and treating yourself like crap. Don't do that stuff.
Like what you said earlier, like, you go out, you're like, okay, I listened to Keith's podcast. I'm like super motivated. I'm going to charge what I'm worth. And then like your next 3 deals you lose, and they're like, we're going to go with the cheaper guy. And then you're like, okay, what's wrong with me? Da, da, da. And then it just begins that downward spiral.
Negative self-talk. Yeah. Like if you catch yourself saying things about yourself or having dark thoughts that are not productive or not good, just grab them. There's a saying, hold all thoughts captive to the obedience of Christ. Sounds a little crazy, but grab that thought, rip it out like a weed before it starts growing and taking over your garden, and put that thing out like a cigarette. Doesn't belong in your brain. If you catch yourself saying anything stupid excuse or just don't, it's hard to. Dude, I can't believe I'm talking like this because, dude, I was literally the guy that every time I was constantly doing stupid stuff and making mistakes and upsetting people. And I felt like the biggest walking, bumbling idiot. I mean, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm pretty sure I have OCD and Tourette syndrome. I blink all the time, and I have all these weird twitches and shit. And it's so easy. There's this weird part of our brain. It's the shadow self that gets off on hating yourself and talking like, oh, I guess it's just because I'm a piece of shit, or I must have a mental illness, or maybe I should just, if I go into there's something that feels so good about being like in full blown depression. It's like a demon or something that like we get off on that feeling of feeling like pity for ourselves. And it's like, because you get some weird secondary emotional payoff when you feel like shit. It's the ego thinking that somebody's going to come along and give you an attaboy or a pat on the back, or it's going to be okay, Timmy. Everything's going to be okay. It's like that feeling. My mom died of a drug overdose when I was like 25. And I remember how,
sorry, man. That's crazy.
I don't say that for any attention from it. I just say to relate that I know what it's like I've lived in like, what have I lived in? I think I've had 34 jobs and I've lived in 24 different homes. We lived in homeless shelters. I've slept in my car, all that stuff. So it was like, that was all an amazing experience because it showed me that I can survive through anything. But the feeling of like, here's the thing. My wife, all I want to do sometimes, and I'm not a clingy person. I'm a very independent person, but there's times I just want to put my head on her boobs and have her run her fingers through my hair.
I know what you're talking about.
There.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it like, am I back?
Yeah. It's
Should
like that. Yeah. It's good now. So that part of me that's still a boy that wants to feel safe and coddled by my wife, or I know this sounds weird, but like the nurturing mom type thing, that's repulsively disgusting to like, I guess you would say, like, to the world, and especially to someone like my wife. And I've learned that anytime I act like a victim or a crybaby or a whining boy, uh, I'm saying this for the betterment of somebody listening, if they might be going through this problem, because the victim mindset is brilliant. It's this brilliant little like dark egoic demon that lives inside of you, and it destroys your whole life. And then you wake up and you didn't achieve all you wake up one day an old man, you didn't achieve anything that you really wanted to achieve, and you just ran in fear the whole time. The victim mentality in psychology is fascinating to me. And what I love about the marriage, my wife, if I start being that way or being a victim, she spots it immediately. And it's what David Data in the book, The Way of the Superior Man, she becomes a dragon and bites my head off. It becomes, she doesn't tolerate it at all. It's repulsively disgusting to her. And so, the farther I go into that, I guess it's because I'm stupid and because I'm
Welcome. I have no idea.
My bad. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not good enough to be in this marriage, but she should go find a man that's better and blah, 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 and all this crap. And maybe like, and she has said things to me before that I don't think I should repeat on this podcast, that are things that you might think like, oh, I can't believe that she would say those things to you, man. Man, your wife is messed up. But when I actually look at where she's coming from, the spiritual aspect and component of why she's saying it, she knows exactly what she's saying. And she's saying it because she's spotting little dark parts in my ego that need to grow up and be a man. It's like you have these people that come along in your life. I had a landscape division manager mentor who was like an ex-Marine Corps sergeant back when I was a foreman for this big company. And this guy would bring me to tears. I can never work hard enough. I'm switching gears a bit here, but I can never work hard enough. I can never work fast enough. There were times where I was the highest performing foreman in the whole division with the highest performing numbers. Not good enough, not fast enough. One day, and everybody would leave, like 42 crews would all leave. And there I was, my toenails black from kicking a shovel, sunburnt, dehydrated. All the other crews would leave, and I would go find him at the end of the day and go up to him. And he was much taller and much bigger than me, older than me. Guy's been through all types of shit. And I would just, all pride and ego aside, it was like a movie. I'd be like, how can I be better? What do I have to do to finally, how do I, and he goes, okay, so there was him. I'll just say their first names. It was Matt and Dave.
Okay.
Matt was the division manager. Dave was the division assistant manager. And Dave would show up on the job sites in a truck and just jump out and find you doing something wrong. He was constantly correcting the quality. No matter how good you were, it wasn't good enough. And he was all over everybody's ass all the time about quality. Matt, it was never fast enough. And I had tears in my eyes that day. And there I'm in my work boots with my lunchbox empty. Tears dripping down my face and my lip quivering, like almost like an army movie. And he goes, you want me to let you in on a secret? We have this set up by design. Between me and Dave, we have you guys walking a tightrope. With me, it will never be good enough or never be fast enough. And with Dave, it will never be good enough. And we do this intentionally to keep you guys walking a tightrope. And that's how we make this company work. And we keep all the clients happy, and we keep the business profitable, and we keep you guys having jobs and keep you guys having paychecks. It was like all done by design. And I didn't know that. It was a game being played. And from that moment forward, I came to work the next day with the pep in my stuff, because I was no longer running the crew as a victim. I was running as like, now I know what's going on, and I got this game. And if you watch, who's the guy, the Marine Corps guy, the black guy on Instagram, who does all the push-ups, and he runs like 800 miles, and he's flipping over the tire, and he's been on Joe Rogan. He's like,
I don't know.
he talks about taking your souls. I know you guys listening right now. I love this guy. What is his name?
Put in the comments.
David Goggins.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So he tells these stories about taking their souls.
Can't Stop Me Now, or whatever. I listened to his book. Yeah.
This guy's amazing. So he talks about, see, he's working from a place of gratitude. He's not doing it as a victim who's suffering. When you flip the script in your consciousness and you go from glass half empty to glass full, and you understand that everything that's happening in the universe is the universe and God doing this for you to propel your evolution forward, instead of you walking into your evolution and into the pain and suffering and bearing your own cross and growing up and becoming the greatest contributor that you can be, you're being drugged by your fingernails, kicking and screaming into the kingdom of heaven, resisting it step by step. You can turn it from a place of resistance and pain and fear and annihilation and death. You could turn that into something that is a great, great gift. And now you can go to work each day and just take on jobs bigger than you've ever done before and face all types of things. And even in your own marriage, you can turn everything into the most beautiful blessing, to where when a customer is upset, you use that as something that's like, as a reason to serve them at even a higher level. So they love you so much that they're giving you raving positive 5-star reviews. When you're in a fight with your wife, you can literally grab her and push her up against the wall and kiss her like you've never kissed her before, and go, that's why I love you. And next week's our wedding anniversary or something like that. And she'll be like, you will go have amazing sex. Like, there,
I love this, man. I never thought we were going to get into this on this episode, but I'm learning so much, man. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this one multiple times.
You lean into the pain and suffering from a place of being a victor, from the spiritual man. And so I love that feeling of waking up tired as hell and no sleep and like crying to myself, I never get any fucking sleep and all these things, blah, blah. And it's like, and then I get on the phone with my buddy William, who's a tree surgeon, arborist. He's like, I was up at 4:30 in the morning and I already did 4 loads of laundry. I did this and I cut my grass, blah, 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 blah. And he's at the job site by 7 a.m. and he's got everything done and the chainsaw sharpened before his crew even shows up. And it's like, I'm like, how do you, this is very important what I'm about to say. I say, you get more shit done than anybody I've ever met in my entire life, bro. How do you, and if you can audit him anytime, his tools are all perfectly methodically organized and greased and oiled at all times. I'm like, how do you do this? He goes, remember when I was laying in a hospital bed, dying of cancer? I stood over him and I held his hand and we cried together because my best friend was dying of cancer and he was 90 pounds, bone skinny, with tubes and IVs all over him. And by the grace of God, he was able to recover 100% fully. He's in vibrant health today. And he cried and he said, last year I was climbing trees and living my dreams. And now I can't even walk. And he put, well, I can't say it's something personal, but basically this guy would take the shirt off his back for me. When you've been in the depths of hell and you've been in the trenches and you know what it's like to have nothing, and you've had everything taken from you, you've been dangled over the lair, over Satan's mouth in the crocodile pit, the guy with the stick like I was talking about, and you know what it's like to suffer grievously because you did not pay attention when you were warned. You were warned again very nicely to get your shit together, and you didn't pay attention, and now look what's happening. You wish you could have gone back to when you were just getting warned, but you didn't pay attention, and now you're in the crocodile pit. And there's nobody to blame but yourself. How many times in life do you got to go in the crocodile pit or go in isolation or solitary confinement until you realize that that these problems can be solved way upstream? And I've become obsessed with this thing. that the step even beyond that is surrendering. What if something happens outside of your control? How do you surrender moment by moment and bring that surrendering all the way forward into present moment where you live in a state of surrendering? It's like this thing I haven't even figured out yet, and I've become obsessed with it because I believe that everything around us is the spirit of mammon. Everything is about business and success and money and entertainment all over social media. It's making me disgusted. I see when I now, like, I'm not impressed by personal items or things anymore. I used to walk around stores or browse constantly at items and be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, and I don't care about that shit anymore because this sounds funny, but I mean it. It doesn't help the kingdom of God. Like, when you die one day, if you leave a legacy and you became even a billionaire, but you didn't, why am I saying this? Oh, I just believe, like, imagine like there's a message that you're supposed to carry and pass on to the next of kin, to other people, so they can pass it on to other people. So as people live and are born and they die through generations, there's knowledge and experience that needs to be passed down. And look at the man who takes it and shoves all the cookies in his own mouth and he goes, me, it's more for me, me, screw everybody else, me. Like, that guy's an absolute failure. Who cares if he becomes a millionaire and has a big house and Lamborghinis and knows all over social media? Look at me, dog. I got all this shit. Like, that guy's a loser, total loser. You piece of shit. You piece of shit. Now, if you acquire knowledge and wealth and experience and you're passing it abundantly to other people, I got you. Yes, I got you. Come on. I'll lay down so you can walk over my back like a bridge. I'll put my face in a puddle for you. I love you. Yeah. Yes, you got this. To give that the other people and to take that knowledge. And like, dude, this guy, Jesus, walked around. I don't know what the hell is happening to me. I'm like preaching right now. This guy carried a cross up a hill and was crucified into his death for people that hated him, were spitting on him, calling him all types of names, and didn't even want him there. Like, and his message is so powerful that I'm obsessed with internet marketing. He's become the best internet marketer in the world today. This guy lived over 2,000 years ago. Yet he's got people all over the internet talking about him today. I'm doing it right now. So imagine if that knowledge and wisdom and everything he taught, all the books were burned, all the cases were closed, and everybody's lips were sealed shut, and nobody could talk about it anymore. What are our children's children and all the people that are going to grow up if we don't sow seeds of greatness and abundance and triple down on our goodness and giving? If we just take all that knowledge and just try to sequester it all for us, what do we gain? We gain nothing. We're destroying humanity. So that's what I think that the power of social media and videos and podcasts and all this stuff is to share knowledge and wisdom and experience so people can be out of survival mode and out of fear, and they can be prosperous, so then they can give back to other people. I see a very abundant future, and I see a small tiny group of selfish criminals that are trying to run things. And I think that the vibration is so high and there's so much love that some of these idiots that we hear about on the news are just going to wash away. They're going to go away and things are going to get better and better and better. And I see a beautiful future. And but I think it all starts with us right here, right now. I'm talking nonstop, bro. I'm sorry.
Dude, I love it. I mean, I honestly, I never thought we would talk about this. We have a landscaper and a lighting guy talking about gratitude, talking about Jesus, talking about changing the world, all these things. So here's the only thing we're going to have to do, because we are like over time, but we're going to have to just do like I kind of want to do an overtime show anyway for my podcast, because there are awesome discussions like this where I'm like, listen, we do got to cut it off, but we'll have to do like an overtime or just have you back on. So man, Keith, I've loved having you on. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom, your insight, your beliefs. Like there's someone out there listening, and you're like me. You're not really. You're just trying to talk to one person. If you can change one heart, one mind, whatever, that's what we're trying to do here. So I appreciate you being vulnerable. I appreciate you doing all that stuff. If someone wants to get a hold of you, or not necessarily even get a hold of you, but like share like your podcast, your YouTube, like how do people get inside your network?
Just type in Keith Kalfas, and I'm on all the social media platforms and on the Untrapped podcast. Go to my website, keithkalfas.com. Keith Kalfas anything.
Easy enough. All right, man. Well, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. guys, thanks for showing up to the show. So we're gonna end it now. And if you want to get in touch with Keith, just Google him, Keith Kalfas, and you can get in touch with him. You guys have an awesome week, and we'll see you next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern.